are very, okay, I think I'm sharing the wrong screen. Give me a second. Okay. Right. Okay. Let me just start with Mr. Gbenga Onitilo. All right, so Gbenga Onitilo is a subject master expert in aviation and airline management, commercial sales and marketing. He has worked in the hospitality sector with the Meridian Hotels, now Eco Hotels, and as well as within the telecoms sector as area sales coordinator. He has also served in capacities as the country manager of 2 international airlines in the past, Africa Airways and Air Namibia. He has also helped build business cases and commercial viability for airlines such as Singapore Airways Cargo, Jet Airways, and China Southern Airlines for tentative operators in Nigeria. Mr. Onitilo is currently the manager for Cabo Verde Airlines in Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Gbenga, for joining us. Now, the second panelist we have today is Maged Salim. Maged Salim is a sales manager at Gezira Travels in Egypt, Cairo. I'm sure it will be online any moment from now. And is also the manager at the local destination marketing company in Egypt and also manages the GTBed online system. He has 17 years of demonstrable experience working in the tourism industry, leisure and travel, and Salim is skilled in crisis management, negotiation, sales, business development, and customer acquisition. All right, another of our panelists is Rosette Dikul. Rosette is the co-founder of Local Female Guides in Uganda. It's a responsible tourism company based in Kampala, Uganda. She's a professional in the industry with over 8 years of experience in core tourism. As a company, they are concerned about conserving the environment and benefiting vulnerable communities in which they operate as 10% of their safari profits are dedicated to these communities and other sustainable outreach projects, which include hand washing stations, clean, safe drinking water filters, and tree planting in those communities. All right, moving on from Rosette. Excuse me. Okay. We have Robert Ambroise. Robert Ambroise is the managing director of In the Blue destination marketing company in Mauritius. He has over 30 years of experience in the travel industry. During his career, Robert has managed destination marketing companies in Mauritius, in Seychelles, in Comoros, in Zimbabwe, in Tanzania, and in Zambia. In 2016, Robert decided to establish his own company, In the Blue, a DMC in Mauritius. And during his career, he has had to overcome numerous challenges, namely in Zimbabwe, where amidst a period of significant economic adversity, he had to re-engineer sales and marketing efforts to reach out to new and underexplored markets. Robert has traveled to over 60 destinations across the world, and most of the time going off the beaten track for a close encounter with the locals. Also, I think finally we have Fuad Peters. No, so after Fuad we have Kenny here. All right, so Fuad is passionate about tourism development marketing. He runs Cape Tourism Connect in South Africa. And he has significant experience, actually over 2 decades of experience assisting and supporting the Cape Town tourism industry in developing destinations and businesses in tourism. Now, for those who have been following Travel Massive, what we've done with this particular event is to bring people who are actually walking tourism, who are walking the talk, who are living out these experiences. And Fuad is someone who has done so much in South Africa. So far, he has worked with existing and new brands to showcase and offer to the world what Cape Town and especially the Western Cape has to offer. Fuad is also the Travel Massive Cape Town chapter leader, and he has also been able to establish his own company called the Cape Town Tourism Connect, where he offers freelance consultancy services in the tourism industry. So he has allowed to, because of his work, that consultancy allows him to express his creativity for business development and marketing to flourish brands, especially culturally and in the tourism industry. So finally, last but not the least, is my colleague, also a fellow chapter leader in Travel Massive, Lagos, Nigeria, is Oluwakemi Ojo. Kemi is the founder of Travellanders Nigeria. She's an experienced digital strategist and travel content creator who has been driving digital marketing initiatives for leading travel and hospitality brands across Africa and Europe. She's also a digital nomad who caught a bout of wanderlust while working for a top OTA in Africa. So at a point, Kemi resigned from a full-time job in a travel company and decided to focus on the digital travel industry, traveling while working. And so for the past 2 years, she has been exploring and living in several destinations across East and Southern Africa. Kemi runs a travel website called travellanders.com, and she has made a lot of money working for companies across the world from our own base in Nigeria. All right, so let's dig deep into this. This is 12:15. This is supposed to be a 90-minute conversation in depth. So I'm going to start with Kemi. And the question is simple, straight to the point. Now this is the format of this conversation. I'm going to ask a question, and each of the panelists will give us their insights, because I'm sure they are prepared for this. So they give us Kemi, Fuad, Robert, Benga, and Rosette, and then Salim. And after we hear their insights, we're going to take questions and comments from the audience. And after we have that we have a second round of questions, and we have that as well. So we're going to have very engaging conversation. So my first question goes to Kemi. Kemi, do you think that the travel industry so far is something that everyone should do full time? Because I'm trying to not ask bullshit questions. I'm trying to really focus on what people, because right now people in the industry who do not have side hustles, they seem to be stuck right now. People do not have, the other day I had my fellow travel agents ask Nassam, I'm broke, I need a raise, I have no other income, all my tickets are stuck, I don't know what to do right now, this is all I do for a living. So that's the question for everyone right now, all the panelists. Do you think the travel and tourism industry is worth doing full time without having a side hustle going by this current pandemic? Kemi.
Like I'm a master of side hustle, right? Okay. Okay. Hi everyone. Based on my experience so far, since the beginning of the pandemic, it's been difficult because working with as a consultant and also as a digital strategist for about 3 companies across Europe and South America before the pandemic started. And then immediately the pandemic started, everything just went off like that. I remember my employer from Norway, who owns an adventure company in Norway, taking tours from Lofoten to majorly in northern Norway for whale watching and other tour activities. And we had to stop activities and we had to stop operation. And there was no opportunity for her, there was no income for her to pay her staff and everything. So she had to let us go and then ask us to, maybe when everything goes back to normal, we can actually resume and then start getting customers and all that. For our own business, we went completely off the grid. And also in South Africa, I also work for a company in South Africa that we had like kind of like a slash of salary based on percentage, and then just have to work minimal hours in a week and all that. So, and also for the company I work for in South America, which is in Peru, Peru locked their borders, and even people that were inside could not even travel back to their countries, and people that already booked their tours were asking their money, asking for refunds and everything. So it's been a very difficult time. And then I discovered that most of my clients some asked me to go, and then maybe when things go back to normal, they employ me back. Why some say, oh, please, I will pay you 50%. And then from 50% slash to 30%. And then I said, last week, we were discussing 15%. So it's that crazy. And then for someone like me that actually rely on things like that, the money, the payment to be able to fund travel, to be able to fund my living expenses, since I don't do the 9 to 5 job and everything, it became difficult. So the best thing was for me to start the side hustle thing. But the side hustle thing actually is also for most travel businesses, because nowadays, fine, some of the employers do not have enough money for marketing because most of them actually run the business with the revenue they get from some of the activities, tour activities and flight that they get. So if there's no revenue, there's no how we can fund the marketing activities for the business. But why some of them already getting funding from people, especially the government, especially in South America, the government is actually trying to help the tour companies and all that. One of my employers is applying for funding. And so with that, we kind of like come up with a plan like, okay, this is what we do for marketing. So people feel since people are not traveling, there's no way to do marketing. So my own side also comes in the part of marketing whereby had to kind of consult for some travel agencies. I have some other new clients where we say, okay, don't think this is the time for you to pack up your business and go inside and say, when the pandemic goes, then we come back and then we start selling again. And this is the time for you to kind of like increase the visibility of your business online. If you don't have a website, make sure your website is functional. It has all the features and everything that is required. And then you start increasing visibility of your brand, increase awareness. Sell these destinations. Not that you're selling directly, you're kind of like inspiring people to want to travel again when all these things are over. People are like basically online every day trying to find things to do, and then being able to kind of like provide the information that they're looking for to prepare them for whatever is going to come after the pandemic. Like, I want to travel, I have places to travel to when the pandemic goes, and where do I want to go to? These are the reason why I have to change my mentality about travel and then make travel something that is very important and essential in our lives. So these are the things that we've actually been working on as part of my side hustle. So I've been working with some brands. I have a yoga and meditation brand. Also, they have a hotel.
Wow.
And we are trying to kind of like push so much information out there via the website to be able to attract more people, because this is an opportunity for them, for you, even as a brand, a travel brand, people don't even know you. But when you are at this period, when everybody is online, you're providing the information they want, you are like in their faces. When it's time to travel, the first person they go to is you. So that's actually the strategy I've been working on with some of the clients that I've been working with so far. So that has been my side hustle.
So what I hear you say is that you have to have a side hustle in travel. That means you can't just focus on it 100%.
No.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
Well, during this pandemic period, where the money is like, for me, I can't say for any other person, but for me, I need a side hustle, because all my employers and the client that I work with are already saying, okay, We can't pay you. So when we can't pay you, you can't expect me to just sit down at home. I have bills to pay. So instead of me
All
sitting
right,
down and not
thank
doing
you, Kenny.
anything, I have to find something to do. Yeah. So,
I got you.
but the thing is, even people that have travel companies and all that, will also look for some other ways to get revenue, because now it's like everything is stagnant. Revenue is not coming in. Nobody's traveling. So the best thing to do is just to look for different ways. But as a travel company, you just need to come up with new products to be able to. I know people, for instance, the yoga company and meditation company that have the hospitality business, one of their strategies is to start online yoga training and then meditation training to be able to advise people and all that. And then people are paying for those sessions. So it's part of making money too for their business. And they've been making quite a lot because people actually need it. So I think everybody just needs to come up, sit down and develop a particular product that they know that someone can actually access online without even going, saying, I want to leave my house or travel or doing something. People do virtual videos, as in virtual travel and all those things online to be able to show people different destinations and all that. People do that for a token and all that, yeah.
Thank you, Kemi. Let me go to Fuad. Fuad in Cape Town, South Africa. Our brother, Fuad. Okay. I want to know, tell us right now, you also own a tourism firm. You're a consultant. You're an industry stakeholder in South Africa, especially in Cape Town. Tell us, what have you been doing? Because so many people across the world are looking at Africa right now. We, in the course of this pandemic, our numbers are the lowest. So people believe that, despite the fact that we don't have so much burden, we shouldn't be that it. But what is the experience so far in Cape Town and also as a consultant, as a tourism business owner? What have you been doing? What does the future lie ahead, for you and also for the industry from your outlook?
Yeah, thank you. Good day to all attending. Thank you, our host Sam and our other esteemed guests on the panel with me today. I'm honored to share my thoughts and insights with you and hope that it will add to the way forward. So in Cape Town and South Africa overall, we've had a lot happening in regards to people coming together to look at what we can do to move forward. As a consultant, I actually lost majority of my business, similar to what Kemi has said, in working with people in the travel industry. They're not able to pay for anything. Fortunately, one of the key projects I'm working with in this community that I live in, Hout Bay, one of the coastal suburbs in Cape Town, we have a development program in place for the travel and tourism sector for the community to look at how we can work together. And through that, I've been able to sort of continue doing some work. But a lot of the work has also almost been pro bono. But what we realized is that we need to do this in order to make sure that when the future for travel starts again, we are able to move forward. And I've also just looked at the initial question you shared with us, and maybe just to give a little bit of context into that, I'd like to share a little bit on that, which was the industry needing to reinvent itself, because that's basically what we have been working on here in Hout Bay specifically, but we've also shared this with the rest of the people in Cape Town. And then what we've done as an industry in South Africa, we've been involved in supporting our National Department of Tourism to look at protocols that needs to be put in place. We've looked at how businesses need to look at what they can do currently, with majority of them having no income, and then the side hustle thing, as you just spoke about, Kenny, and then also looking at what we can do when travel is allowed just within South Africa as a start, because that is where we are currently looking at is local travel within the next few months, because we're working on different levels from our government with regards to how we are able to move, how we are able to do business and just growing the economy again. Fortunately, also, our government has been playing around with various budgets from various departments and pooling resources. and we are able to actually have support infrastructure to businesses as well as our sort of communities at large, with grant funding being given to people. But then we also have the more affluent people who have been able to come together and bring forth, standing together as community and helping the most vulnerable. So just to get into the whole scenario on the question of being able to reinvent itself, I'm sure a lot of this has probably been covered across the globe with regards to things being spoken about, but just to sort of get context to it. The current world developed into one of convenience, with ease of accessibility becoming the norm, technology in all its forms, food, mostly so travel. And due to progression of lifestyles and the convenience mentioned, previous world pandemics likely were never thought about with possible future pandemics to impact travel, because that's exactly where we find ourselves now. So, of course, the industry continued on a growth trajectory, with annual trends and forecasts being the order of the day, quarterly, seasonal, annual figures being used to determine movement of people across the globe, supporting various industry and support service sectors from an economic perspective. When one actually takes all of this into account and how advanced we have become as global citizens, pandemics of the past are probably seen as minor in consideration, but I also want us to think of this a bit as well. Is it only because of the ease of movement globally that we consider this pandemic affecting us so much more in comparison to the past, and how this impact has gone to a local level, but then also looking at it from a global level? So I'm just going to continue to share a little bit more of what we've done. So we are in a phase where we definitely need to reinvent the industry, and it seems quite daunting for quite a few people. But for the past few months, we've had so much discussions here in Cape Town and South Africa, and we looked at the perspective of being able to consider including the protocols, developing future methods and processes to be able to move along and be more prepared. So should something like this happen again in the future, how do we sort of manage it and how do we deal with it? Just bringing it into the context of my own community where I'm working in, as I said, in Hout Bay, our city as Cape Town, but then also our country as South Africa, because we've shared a lot of what we've been doing in South Africa as well. There seems to be quite a bit of confusion and panic still happening, but there are organizations, associations, and individuals such as myself that have come forth, and we're looking at getting us to the next phase. And then also being part of the global travel community through Travel Massive, it's been really great in that we were able to share and deal with things that we've encountered and endured, and gotten feedback from the other chapter leaders and so on. And then, like I said, locally for our community, my colleague and I, Pamela Mudley, directors of Hout Bay Tourism Connect, through our collaborative consultation in developing the plans for this new organization, has helped to look at solutions and finding ways to keep our industry motivated and going on a local level within a global context. So overall, something which has been earmarked as a future industry is something we could really look at and develop new ways aligned to the fact that the industry is a key sector to drive the United Nations World Tourism Organization agenda for the SDG 2030 initiative. So being more responsible, ensuring a sustainable economy and community. We're working on a plan to implement this through taking responsible tourism or travel more to a sense of community first, with organic impact to environment and conservation. So with this, we're saying there's always a focus on the responsible tourism around conservation and environment, and not particularly the community. So what we've seen is the impact on our community has been from our past regimes as a country, previously disadvantaged individuals and communities being the most affected. A lot of them actually work in the tourism industry as well. And so we find that a lot of them have gone without food. And so a lot has been implemented to assist them. But the impact of this comes to us with the realization that in order to help the conservation in what we have as a main focus that people normally travel for, is to ensure that unless we as have people still struggling and having to live dignified lives and fair living conditions, there will never be full impact consideration for conservation as such. So when we look at the SDGs, it makes perfect sense that living conditions, our consumption, and ensuring equitable economic value for all will be able to impact the outcome of the effects of what has a direct implication on the environment, and in turn ensure better conservation efforts. So to end off and to sort of get context of this, where I'm going with this in light of what I've said in reinventing our industry, from an immediate local perspective within our community, this virus seems to have had a big impact on the travel and tourism industry. And the result is a refocus on ensuring that the vulnerable were taken care of over the past few months. But in my opinion, if we work towards implementation of this plan that we are working on with the future focus, we will ensure we can better manage economies and also being informed and ready to be able to deal with future pandemics, and in the same light, allow for faster and impactful response to withstand such situations. So yes.
Thank
so
you. Thank you for
doing. Yeah.
Can I comment at this point? Thank you.
Yes.
Because I know that you have so much to say, but I wanted to just take also another look at. So I'll come back to you. So let's go now to Rosette. Rosette in Uganda. Thank you for it. Now, Rosette, you also you run a travel company, a tourism firm. And what you guys do is majorly domestic walking tours in Kampala. Rosette, can you on mic? My co-host, can you help me with that? Can you unmute yourself? Okay, so what has been your experience thus far in terms of the future? Because I really want us to talk about practical things that will help people who are disillusioned right now. You get, there's so many people that have ideas, just like Fuad has mentioned, sustainable tourism. And you also told me, I remember our conversation, you are big on sustainable tourism, yourself and Anna, your co-founder. But then how can we practicalize this? How can this be a business plan that can make money? Because for me, I'm a business person. It's about the money. I like to follow the money. I don't want to just talk alone. Because in the end, just like Kemi said, if you cannot make money from your passion, from your craft, you will be broke and you'll be forced to leave this industry. For some of us, we're here because it's a calling, it's a passion, but we also want to profit out of it. So tell me so far, what has been your experience, and also from your deep thinking, from conversations, from your brainstorming, what do you see the future? What is the future for us from your perspective in Kampala, in Uganda, and also for the Africa outlook?
Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much, every other panelists and our viewers today. I am so glad to be part of this discussion. Yes, I need to collect you about what we do, because we have free walking tours as a product, and that is under local government, Uganda. So more to that, we also have been offering tours and safaris to all of the national parks. And actually, the situation has not been really good for us, just like any other operator. So what happened is, we actually, when all this started, I was not in Kampala, but my colleague, co-founder Hannah, was around. Around mid-March, I had a trip to Windy. I was doing a Goliath tracking tour with our clients. And so emails started coming in, like people were telling us, like most of our clients in Germany, in Italy, and in Netherlands. So they're saying, hey guys, what's happening? Because here things are not good. It started with China, you all know that, and then Italy was hit bad, Spain and the rest of the world. So they said, we don't think we are ready to travel, because we are looking at canceling our trips that we had already booked with you guys. And that was not something that was really good for us because, you know, the anticipation, we had already looked at the money coming in and we are happy about it. So it didn't stop me from carrying on my trip. We continued with our trip. I had 3 clients who were doing 10 days. So we did gorilla tracking and then continued to Queen Elizabeth National Park through Ishasha, the only place that has tree climbing lions in Uganda. And in the meantime, my colleague, together with a team, handled the kind of cancellations. So what we did was, I was all the time on phone with her. So she would be like, Rosette, what do we do? Because things are really getting out of hand. So we got in touch with the local authorities, like Uganda Wildlife Authority, and we spoke to them together with the Association of Uganda Tour Operators because something had to be done. For example, if someone has already booked a gorilla permit and the trip is already confirmed, you already have a certain bit of a commission that you have to earn, then you cannot just cancel and just be there, wait for nothing. So what we did was we spoke to these authorities and so, of course, spearheaded by the Association of Uganda Tour Operators, they helped us pave the way and the rest of the other tour operators in Uganda to make sure that instead of having all our clients like cancel their trips, they could give us validity for like the gorilla permits, chimpanzee tracking, and all the other activities in different national parks carried forward. Like the validity was extended for the next 2 years. So that gives us time to like communicate to our clients and have them postpone their trip. And I think that was a good thing, something that made us feel at peace. And so we are looking forward, we are very optimistic, and we hope that when the things get back to normal or to the new normal, we can be able to have our clients back online and we carry on our safaris. Then again, we sat down, me and my co-founder, and we realized we have these girls that we lead. We train them with skills to be able to like lead free walking tours. If there's a tour, safari, they can be able to guide tourists to the national parks. We're trying to empower the young women. What can we do for them? How can we continue empowering them, even if we don't have the money to like pay them now that we are completely at zero with the trips, because everything was suspended, including our daily free walking tours in Kampala. So we decided we sent our emails, but we haven't got response yet. We are trying to work with there's this team which won the Booking.com Booking Booster Fund. It's called, they did a project called Ukalim, and it's an online platform where they give skilling and more information. It's more or less of educational to the young people, to the people in the tourism industry. So we are trying to enroll our guides to be able to have more of the necessary skills so they can learn more, so that by the time we resume to normal, they have more information about destinations, they know how to handle clients better, they can be able to participate fully and have the necessary information that it takes. And another thing we're also looking at is, this is actually giving us more time to concentrate on our online content. It's time to have our web presence consistency, and then be able to follow up on our social media channels. Like, we have to make sure that our content is more informing people about what's happening, like how we are handling the situation and the way forward, what has to be done. I think now is not the time to like bombard people with advertisement, special fairs and all that kind of stuff, because I mean, like, everyone is suffering with this kind of lockdown. This is something that we have not been used to. So we just have to communicate with our people, tell them that once things get to normal, we will have something to offer to them. And so what we have worked on in the meantime is, because we know for sure that the international market is going to take long to recover. I don't know, maybe 10 months, 12 months, 15, whatever that is. Sorry?
I was just smiling at your projection. of 10 months and 1 year. No, go on, go on. I will share.
Yeah, so whatever time it is that the industry takes to recover, I am hoping that it takes much less than what I just said. So we have developed domestic tourism products.
Can I comment on this point, Rosette?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. I'll come back to you. Let me go over now to Robert. Robert in Mauritius, Managing Director in the Blue DMC. You have been in this industry for about 30 years. I'm not sure I'm up to 30 years old. Okay, of course, that's a joke. My beard betrayed me. Okay. I know that there are lots of younger people here who are just starting out in the industry. You know, I'm very passionate about younger people because I'm also a young person and I have lots of people who look up to me and I look up to you, Robert. You know, when you came to Lagos the other day for about 2 weeks and we did some work together, I learned so much from you. And I want you to also pass that knowledge to everyone here today. What is the staying power of someone who truly sees travel and tourism as a long-term industry to work in? You know, what makes you want to stay for 30 years? What makes you not want to just come in and cash out and then, you know, when there's a pandemic, I'm going to sell rice or sell beans? You know, what has made you stay for so long? What has kept you? Because you have encountered various topsy-turvy, various storms across the various countries where you have worked, you know. So that is my question for you, Robert. Can you unmute? Robert.
Hello.
All right.
Okay. Hello. Yes, first of all, a very good afternoon to all the participants, and thank you, Sam, for inviting me to join this conversation this afternoon. As you rightly say, I've been around for 30 years, going through different challenges over the years. And I'm quite resolute to stay for another 30 years. Okay, because for all of us who are in this industry, you know, it's about passion. You must be passionate to about people, about travel, to stay. And as far as I'm concerned, based on previous challenges, I'm talking about 9/11, the war in Iraq, more recently, the 2008 financial crisis. Yeah. Travel always rebound because people will always have the need to travel. How long will it take to come back? I'm inclined to be to follow a little bit what Rosette has said, because for your information, as far as we are concerned regarding IndieBlue, we've worked on two scenarios. Our best scenario is seeing our first client coming back by November, and the worst scenario is after March 2021. So we've worked around this, and what we've done from the very day we went into lockdown is that the first thing that we've done with the colleagues is that we've learned how to work from home, because it's working from office and working from home. It's something quite different. We even did, all of us, we did a training, an online training on working from home. And then we started setting targets for what we will do. based on the current situation. So we had two kinds of objectives and targets that we've set ourselves. The first is to what we are going to offer when it comes back, because we are anticipating that travel will not come back as when it left us. There will be so many things that will be different when it comes back. And secondly, we've been trying, being a small company, we are working on alternative revenues, sources, let's say source of revenues. And I will come to that in the second part of my intervention. But first, what we've been aggressively doing first, we've been looking at our existing products. Because in normal time of business, there's so many things that you want to do and you just can't do because you lack resources, you lack time, you always have these urgent things. And so we've listed all the things that we've always wanted to do and that we couldn't do. And working on our, optimizing our technologies that we have. We always wanted to optimize fully our operation software. It's an online B2B, which we have at the time that we speak, it's like 95% done. We've worked on things that we had already started working. It's like to be completely paperless in dealing with clients. So when clients come back, we will no longer be handling envelopes to them, no longer handling brochures to them. It will be a paperless experience. They will have their welcome letter, their itineraries, all digital, which they will be able to download before they come. So this is done. And we are also working, we started this 2 years or 3 years ago. We stopped having like a brochure because we were working on our carbon footprint. So we have an app which we have optimized, through which clients can interact with us, and where they have much more information that we could have given to them in a brochure, like places to be, places of interest, what's on, flight detail, and of course they can choose, book, check availability, and book our experiences that we offer through the app. And this reduces, it's something that will be very common when the tourists come back, is reducing touch points. People won't want to be touching everywhere because of virus. So this is almost done. Now we've been re-looking also at our product, because 40% of our business and product that we sell were aimed at leisure groups. And that leisure group will not come back very quickly. It will take time. I think for us to see big leisure group, it's if we have a vaccine tomorrow, but otherwise this is almost gone in the immediate future. So now we are working on replicating the same products that we were giving to leisure group to individual travelers, but of course we have to make it to make it in such a way that it's more meaningful. We are looking at encouraging more of self-drive experiences as well. And we are working on travel hygiene protocols, because as you know, airline will have their protocols, hotels will have their protocol, And we also have to have the protocols when we take the client from the airport to the hotel, and whenever they are doing any sort of experiences and activities that they will book through us. And we talk to our partners overseas, those whom we deal with in all markets regularly, to see what's happening. At the moment, if you ask me, for instance, when and from where I can expect my first client, to be frank and honest, I cannot give you any shed any light on this, which joins a little bit what Aziz says at the beginning of our pre-meeting conversation. And I think it's premature, and but we have to keep what we are doing. In fact, we are doing scenarios. If this happen, then we will have this. If the other one happen, you know, building different scenarios. This is all what we are doing. But of course, we will need revenue to survive. And so far, we've been a little bit lucky because since the lockdown started, the government has contributed towards the salary of the staff, but this is not going to happen.
That's good. Hold on, Robert. I'm not sure everybody heard that. For you in Mauritius, the government has been paying the salaries of your staff, right? So
right.
That means that I think we need to move to Mauritius. Everyone, go with me. Say hi. Because that is a country. As we said, we can't believe that.
Yeah, but Sam, this is good. But you know, to every good thing there is an end, eh? So this will not happen indefinitely. We know about this, and so at the same time, we've been working on what we call local experiences that we will be promoting to the locals. Why is that? We believe that for a certain time, the hotel are going to remain closed on the island. The people who usually go to the hotel will not go to the hotel, not only because they are closed, but I think people in general will tend to avoid, you know, crowded areas. So we've come up with something that we are working on. It's like educational trips. We call e-guided educational trips for locals, families, you know, during the weekend, they've got nothing to do because we believe, we are sure that even the locals, there's a lot of things about the country, the island that we don't know. And this is what we, what are the experience that we give to our visitors. So we want to share that with them and hopefully get some revenue from this activity until the business.
Can I comment at this point, Robert?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'll come back to you, Robert. Let me move over to Gbenga Onitsula right now. Now, before Gbenga talks, I want to just mention a specific point that Robert mentioned, which answers the question in the chat box here that says, what are the strategies needed for people's confidence to be boosted to go on local tours when the lockdown finally eases? Now, Robert has said that for him and his company, they are looking at organizing educational trips for families. That is for groups. So that means that you're not asking for a group of 20 or 50, or we are approaching a school, you're approaching a family of 10, you're approaching a mosque, you're approaching a church, you're approaching an association. That means you're approaching people who trust each other and who will not be like, oh, okay, does she have the virus? Or if somebody sneezes in the bus on the trip, they're like, oh my God, Hail Mary. So I think that's very significant. Thank you so much, Robert. Let's move over to Gbenga Onitsula. Mr. Gbenga, you are the country manager for Cabo Verde Airlines. And the reason why I like to have you in every of our meetings is that you are a data man. You are not a subjective, emotion-driven person. So I want you to please give us data, because I'm really particular about, please, I want to answer this question for us.
Yeah.
Can travel ever move from being a want to being a need? I think we should be honest. Is it possible? One. Two is, just this morning, we saw in the news, Italy is supposed to open first week in June to tourists, but they said they are not allowing Americans to come into their country. You know, so there are countries and there are destinations that are beginning to start some kind of proxy war in time, you know, based on their reactions to the pandemic. Yesterday, President Trump announced that churches can now open, and of course, we all know that a lot of countries, especially Nigeria, take dressing from the West. You know, so first question: will travel ever move from a want to being a need? If yes, how? If no, tell us why. Then second is, what, from your own industry as an aviation person, what are the strategies that are in place, or what does the future, what's the outlook for the future? Because this is a thought leadership experience. We wanted to project the outlook, what does the future hold in terms of businesses for people, because I've lost, everyone here has a business. You're either a staff, you are an SME person, and you are a player. We are all interconnected. There is no one who can say you are doing travel all by yourself. You know, so what is the future?
Okay. Let me just start and answer one just for Mauritius. When they said earlier that they were paying salaries, government is still paying salaries, everybody laughed. Tourism in that country contributes about 25% of the GDP. 25%. When a sector contributes about quarter of your GDP, then the government will bail out that sector. What it means is that government generates a lot of income for influx of travelers into that economy. So government has no choice but to keep paying salaries of people running that sector, because let's say, for example, the economy is worth $100 billion, for example, and 25% contribution to that sector suffers a setback because of pandemic. You know what happens. And you know, the funny thing is the 25% also has an impact on other sectors, because tourism impacts a whole lot of other sectors. It's not just about travels alone. There are a lot of ecosystem that is tied into tourism. So that's why the government said, no, 25% we must sustain. And if you look at them from 2007, tourism has been growing in bounds in Mauritius over the years. So in Mauritius now, just speak about Mauritius, that has been impact, there has been sporadic growth over the years, year on to year. That's why the government is bailing out. But in Nigeria, it's just about 1% or 1.5% of the GDP. And that's why government is not taking us serious. So just to answer your question. Just to put a perspective on that, because people will now start wondering why is government paying salary. So now let's go back to the issue of wants and needs. At this particular point in time, for a while, it's going to be the issue of a need. The pandemic has come. That's a reality. Anybody can pay it. Let me just say the facts. Airlines, IATA, ICAO, UN, WHO, everybody is just doing projections. We are talking about something that is affecting human behavior, human lives. It's a pandemic. So you can't, and it's caused by a virus that has never been seen before. Almost 580,000 people have died globally. Right now, there is no virus. And I don't think there will be any virus. People can keep doing whatever research they are doing. I don't think there's going to be any virus until the next 12 to 18 months. If you have any virus that comes, it's not one shot that is going to fix anything. It's going to be several shots that will be given. So people need to understand what we are faced with. Now, it now comes to this. The world, everything has been altered, so it's now not going to be about because tourism itself has impacted, because when the lockdown happened, it's like the whole world shut down for 2 months. And when the whole world shut down for 2 months, aviation most affected and travels. Over 90% of everything, whether you talk about hotels, whether you talk about bookings, airline activity, over 90% of it completely shut down. And if you have about 90% of that shut down, Africa alone is projected to be losing, African Airlines will be losing over $5 billion in terms of revenues they are supposed to have made. Over $5 billion. Nigeria, it's in Naira, I think it's over 200 billion that we are projected to have lost so far, over 200 billion Naira. I don't know what that conversion is in dollars now. Maybe over $1 billion that Nigeria has been projected alone to have lost. And you have seen about over 24,000 jobs that will also be lost. And what the pandemic has done, it has affected people's earning powers as well. So if the earning power of people have been affected and there have been job losses, and the job losses spans across different industries beyond aviation, which means people's disposable incomes have shrinked because some businesses are saying people should stay away till they build back. Some only have few people operating, they're paying maybe 50% or 70% salaries. And so disposable income also has been affected. Then you also have to look at the health issues as well, because travel is not going to be as seamless as before, like Robert said, until you have a vaccine. So now several countries like Sri Lanka, what's the name of this country? Greece. A whole lot of them are looking at opening up the tourism. But as they open up, they're going to open up only to countries with less risk. Like somebody said, in Italy, we don't want Americans because the threat there is high. So countries are going to set a whole lot of health protocols, which means your visa or your passport might not just be enough for you to even travel anymore. Which means you might have to either have a COVID test results with you before you travel, or you run a test at the airport on the other side before you enter, if you are cleared, or when you get in, you have to be quarantined as well. So a whole lot of things are going to affect how consumers now see travel, because you're going to expect to have long queues at immigrations. It's going to happen. So a whole lot of things are going to happen post-pandemic, at least for the first 6 months. The world will be trying to find a balance as regards what's going to work. And those things are going to be in the news, which will affect consumer behavior. People will now start asking themselves, do I want to go through all these rigors? For example, my wife, they have American visas and all that. They were supposed to travel this summer. They said no travel until next year. You know, she's not traveling with anybody to anywhere in the world till next year. So, and that is the way an average consumer or traveler is thinking. That's the reality. We have to look at that reality. Disposable income has shrinked. It has shrinked. People should not doubt that. That's why you have governments all over the world. Now in Japan, for example, the country is paying at least 80% of salaries of most workers, as long as the employers guarantee for over a period, they will not lay off people. It's happening in America. It's happening in UK. It's happening in most countries. So most countries are now become a socialist country now. You know, people have always fought socialism. They fought socialism when Bernie Sanders was shouting socialism. So now everybody has now become a socialist, because that's the only way you can keep economies running. If people don't spend, you cannot generate money from taxation, which means the countries will collapse and die. So that's the reality on ground. So about this need and want is the middle thing, because some people will still have to travel. And it's going to grow gradually. The confidence is going to grow gradually. Like, for example, I have a friend that works in Chevron in Excravos. He has been in Lagos for about 3 weeks. Now he's supposed to return to base. Guess what the company is doing for everybody? They're isolating everybody 8 days in a particular hotel in Lagos before they go to Escravos. You are not going to see anybody. You are not going to talk. You are not going to come out of your room for 8 days. They are going to isolate you for 8 days. Even you will not talk to the waiters will just put the food and they will put it there. They follow a practical protocol to put the food at the door. Then you come in and pick it. You don't go anywhere. He just told us this morning in a group I belong to that one of his colleagues that he works directly with has been tested positive. So businesses also are going to be impacted in terms of will we allow our staffs to travel anymore? Because if any staff even travel, by the time he returns, he's going to face maybe a form of isolation for 14 days to guarantee. So that is money that the organization will have to spend again. So business travel will be impacted. Leisure is going to take a long time. Those that you mentioned something about those in tour operators in Nigeria. Look, the reality is this: for a long time, group travel is not something that is really going to work. Like Robert said earlier, you have to look at people that have confidence in each other to travel. Families will be your greatest target. Maybe people that are in a particular school, like I said, in religious groups. It's going to be hard for you to just get people like tour operators do everywhere. Just get people and get them to travel like a group. It's going to be tough for a long time because I'm not going to get on board with anybody. I want to see your COVID tests, that you are okay, that you are cleared and certified. I want to know what kind of test you have done. I want to know he issued the test results. I'm not going to put myself at risk to you. So those are the questions in the minds of every traveler right now. And also the airlines themselves. People will start asking themselves, what protocols has this airline? Because I've been sharing information like, look, for example, airlines in Nigeria have not been sharing information about safety protocols or health protocols that they're putting in place at check-in, onboard, deboarding, baggage, everything. There's no information. So if I'm going to travel, for example, Emirates, Etihad, you've been seeing a lot of things. Most of them have been posting all around. So those are the things that will that give people confidence. You know, earlier you were talking about marketing. Kemi was talking about marketing. Rossetti also mentioned something. This is not a time you attack the minds of, but right now, travelers want information. They want things that will reassure, give them confidence. So which destinations really right now are safe? If you're going to sell, you have to start painting pictures of the destinations that are really safe. You have to start painting pictures of protocols in those destinations so that they start familiarizing themselves. Where is safe? Where can I travel to? Where do they have the least number of deaths? Where are the protocols not so chaotic? Where are the visa processes? Look, people are still going to travel. But those are the questions they will not start asking, which means a tour operator or travel operator, if you don't have passion, if it's just side hustle, you won't last in this business. If you see it as side hustle, you are not going to last. You are going to, pandemic is clearing out people that are not really supposed to be in this business. That's just the truth. Some of us have been in this business who have not really made money as much as we think we should. We have learned a lot of lessons, but part of the future of this thing is collaboration. This is, look, all this one, I'm the CEO of this tour agency, I'm the CFO or whatever you call yourself. It's time for 2 or 3 of you to sit down and build synergies. Collaborate. Look, that's how we're going to survive this season. You have to look, if I have to sit down with Kemi, come. You can do digital marketing. Okay, let's partner. Me, I will do this. And Sam, I know you can do all these Zoom meetings and do all this collaboration. You can get people like Robert. So look, let's collaborate. Sign an MOU. 3, 4 of you do an MOU. Let's make. It's better to make 10% of 100 million that be owning 10 million naira. You know, I'll be 200,000 naira. You are owning 200,000 naira business, where you can own 10% of an 100 million business. So the future is going to be about collaborations. People are going to have to collaborate to survive this season because we don't know when this will pass. Everybody is just doing projections. Part of the projections I've read, international travel, for it to stabilize, it's going to take another 18 months. You know why? All airlines have burnt down all their cash reserves. Most of them are going to start flying with maybe capacity. The capacity they will start flying with, maybe about 40 or 50% of their capacity is what they will start flying with. They've burnt all their cash reserves. Nobody is going to put every Goslar aircraft all over the world anymore. The schedules are going to reduce. So we are not going to emerge post-COVID the way we were before. A lot has changed. So the reality is this: you have to learn how to collaborate. You have to learn to, now you are going to now operate more as an expert, not a ticketer. Because what we have in Nigeria are ticket sellers. People that sell tickets. That's what we have. That's why everywhere is in disarray. And that's why the sector has not been growing, because all we have are people selling tickets. Lagos, London, Lagos, Abuja. You will now back it up with small tours. They are not experts at selling tours. You have to be an expert at this thing, not a side hustle. All those paparazzi, it has ended now. Now it's for the serious people in the sector to now develop the capacity to collaborate all across the world. You collaborate with people like Robert, with Rossetti, with Fuad. You have to do collaboration now. It's better we share it together and survive incrementally. We have to learn to now do exchanges right now. Look, Fuad, can you give me, I can do domestic tourism for your people in Nigeria. I can sell these destinations, they are safe. Incremental revenue. Over a period of time, we'll build new capacities to move ahead. So if side hustle for me, when you say side hustle, me, I'm multi-dimensional. I get my hands into so many things. Whatever is going to pay the bills for you to survive the season of debt, you put your hands into it. You can't say, oh, the only thing I know how to do is travel and tourism. The only thing I know how to do is an airline person. I do several things that guarantee income for me to survive for now. There are times I help people to write proposals. There are times I help people to recruit for staff. I do all sorts. HR, as an aviation person, I do all sorts of things for people just to guarantee income. Because right now, all of us are working in the aviation industry. Most of us have not had salaries since March. The ones that are going to that are earning salaries are maybe earning 50%. A larger percentage have been asked to stay at home till things start working out. Even for us as an airline that we're planning to jumpstart things. Part of the things I told our people is like, look, you must not have any expectations for the first 6 months. No expectations. Because we are trying to find what will work in terms of schedule, in terms of pricing. We're trying to find what will work. Because if anybody says, you know what's going to work, you're kidding yourself. Nobody knows how the business travel angle is going to respond to us. The business travel, because most of these corporates are going to have their own health and safety protocols. They're going to check out which airlines they're going to work with. They're going to check out which travel agent is that well informed to help them to beat COVID-19 infection and all that. So now the travel agent of the future, the tour operator of the future is going to be a very cerebral person, a very detailed person, not somebody that sees an side hustle. You are going to be not somebody that just sees it as, I just want to sell tickets. No, but somebody that is offering a full-scale service to people so that they are assured of safety. They are assured that their health will not be compromised. They are sure that wherever they are going, you're not going to face any kind of issue. Like, okay, if somebody does not even understand that where he's traveling to, by the time he gets there, they're going to quarantine him for 14 days. And the travel agents never informed him or her of that. And the person gets there, forget, you've lost that business. So different countries are going to have different quarantine and health and protocol issues. So now we are all going to be ardent readers, better informed on how to guide our clients as we move on. So I think I've been able to answer some of your questions.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have like about 15 minutes to go. So I'm going to go again to all our panelists, one after the other. I'm going to come again to Kemi. Now, let's talk about this collaboration thing, because we're able to establish the fact that, number one, we can't do so much if we decide to run alone, but we can do so much when we come together. But we have seen over time that people want to, there are some people that want to just collaborate with you because they want to get your wealth of knowledge, your experience over the years. They are leeches. They want to start from you and go. They are parasitic in their relationship. They are not symbiotic, you know. And so this question is for everyone. Kemi, Fuad, Rosette, and then Robert. How can you identify the right people to work with? Because two cannot work together except they agree, except they have the same values, except they have the same goals, same passion, the same language, the same perspective. You know, so from your experience and from what you have seen, what do you think travel agencies, travel business owners right now in this forum should look out for when collaborating as we go into the future? Kemi.
Thank you, Sam. I think for now, the passion is very important, just like Mr. Gbenga said. If you see someone that's selling only tickets, you know, people are actually selling tickets alone and then they just want to make the money and go. I don't think that's the right person to partner with. If you see someone that is very passionate about this business and is looking for growth and then looking for how to succeed in the business, apart from being successful, you know, success actually comes in a way whereby you're trying to help people to achieve their goals before you can actually be successful in a business. The people, especially your target audience, if you can't help them to achieve whatever goals that they want to achieve, you yourself won't be able to achieve your business goals. So the best thing is just to look out for someone that has you have the same goals and your goals are aligned together and also has passion for this industry. Because even at this, as of now, people that are not really passionate about the industry are already somewhere else doing something else. And then when things go back to the new normal, they come back and all that, yeah. So I guess that's actually what. You look out for passion, you look out for the goals and make sure it aligns. It's very, very important, yeah. I think those two for me, apart from the other things like the honesty part of it and looking at someone when it comes to handling money and stuff like that. But at the beginning, when you're about to start a business, when everybody comes to the table, you say, this is my goal, and this is where we're going to. So we have to look at everything before we come together with a strategy to see how we can actually move forward. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Fuad. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Kevin. Fuad, South Africa, you guys are rich. You guys are big boys. You know, I've been to South Africa. I've been to Joburg, Cape St. Francis. I've been to Blue Cambridge. I've been to quite a number of places, and it's a beautiful country. And you are somebody that connects with a lot of people. And there's something about connecting with the right people to make the right money. I'm focusing on money and business and profitability because I am tired of being in an industry where so many people are poor. There are so many travel agents, okay, maybe because they're just selling tickets, who are not driving cars, who don't have houses, who are not millionaires. So how can you, or the question is, how can we locate the right partnerships to scale so that we can really make money and our industry will be enviable? I ask this because I've had people ask me, Sam, is there money in travel? You guys are selling tickets, is there money in that deal? Because it's usually cheap. You guys are always selling cheap tickets, is there money? So from your experience for us in South Africa, what can people do? What can they look out for in being strategic about their thinking so that going forward, they are making moves, making partnerships, and making decisions that will allow them to profit and to be rich and be comfortable, so that this industry will be an industry of pride, you know, in the world. What?
Sorry, Sam, I lost internet connection, and so I missed most of what you said, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I just joined using my mobile device, which is on a different internet connection.
Okay, no wonder I saw that you were smiling and then you were frozen. So let me just do a quick recap of what I said. So what I
Okay.
said is, from your experience as a travel connector in Cape Town, as someone who really knows lots of people in South Africa, and then you look like somebody who is comfortable. You look rich, you know, you look like a big boy, you know. How can young people here right now watching this, watching you, what should they do? What steps should they take to make the right partnerships so that they can make the right money to lift them out of poverty, out of survival, out of subsistency into a level where they can thrive and they can build houses, you know, sponsor people to abroad, you know, they can live a good life. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I might look rich, I might look big boy, but I'm still working my way there. But yes, thank you. So yeah, so what I think, something that I've been working on as well here in Cape Town, we've looked at what people want in life is to really experience and to be able to take things, to create memories. And so actually one of our ex-chapter leaders for Travel Massive as well, Neil Jansen, Travel Massive Africa and Travel Massive Johannesburg, he's actually moved to Cape Town, and he's actually moving to Houtbay as well, which is really great for me because the two of us have been working together for just over a year now. And so we started a new campaign called I Am Cape Town. So what we're looking at is using what we have as people, as stories. A lot of us ourselves don't know what we have to offer as individuals, and I think that is where the collaboration comes in being able to take what we have as our own stories and background culturally, from a heritage perspective, and when you bring in everything such as food, fashion, because that's something that we actually developed. If you actually go on to www.iamcapetown.co.za, you'll see some of the products we've already listed there, gives that experience. And when we shared it with locals, they got very excited. They actually wanted to do these experiences, and they wanted to be able to understand what it is that we as locals, as Cape Townians, are sharing with visitors normally. And so from a domestic travel perspective, I think that is what we also need to look at, because in the comments during the session, that came up quite a bit, and how do we collaborate? And so if you're asking, how can youngsters get involved? I think that is what they need to look at. They maybe need to look at a little bit of their culture, a little bit of their heritage. What are the things that they like? Using that to be passionate in offering an experience. So I think some of the things, I think Kemi, you might have put it in the chat, because I'm on my phone now, I'm not going to jump into the chat, but I'm going to try and reference it, was partnering with, for example, Rosette in Uganda, and then also looking at Kenya and so on. So also inter-regional travel within sort of the African continent, that's something that we also actually looked at for Cape Town as well, where we said, how do we get the rest of Africa to also travel to Cape Town to come and see what we're doing, and how can we share a little bit more of this? And so also from my side, and also with regards to looking at how I can support, I've posted my contact details in there, in the chat as well. So if there's anybody that wants to sort of share ideas, and I can also share a little bit more in detail in terms of what we're doing, it could help encourage and also motivate others to look at what they possibly could do. And maybe hopefully we can get everyone else looking rich and big as well. I hope that answered.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. All right, let's move on to Rosette in Kampala. Rosette, you are currently building a business that is very unique, especially focusing on girls and women, because the future is female, you know, and you are doing something significant with Anna, and you also have traveled, The last time we spoke, I think you said you have been to more than 20 countries across the world. So you are a very well-traveled and exposed person. But from your perspective, please share with us, how can young and younger entrepreneurs in this industry, especially ladies, because to be honest, many ladies are looking up to people who are doing well. I've had my colleagues who are telling me that Sam, 0.3 successful travel entrepreneurs in Nigeria who are women, you know, and I've had to like try to look, okay, this woman from Thor Brokers, NANTA president, you know, there are very few, but they're DMP and all that. But then, from your experience and on your way up, what do you think that ladies, females, who are building travel businesses, what should they look at? What should they look out for in the future as the days unfold, you know, in the course of building their business? What should be the focus? What should they look out for? Yeah, that's my question. What is that?
Just like the previous presenters just talked about collaboration. I think the future now depends on who we collaborate with and how best we do it together, because I don't think going at it alone will make all the difference. We have to learn to work together. We have to rise together. We have to collaborate. We have to coordinate and push things. Like a saying goes, a rising tide lifts all the boats. So now, collaboration goes with, it has to do with passion. It has to do with honest. It has to do with people who are willing to grow with you. So you cannot have someone that you're going to be feeding all the information all the time. There has to be somebody who is passionately interested in doing what you do. So we need to look at people who are in line of business with us and ready to grow, whether there's COVID-19 or not, because we know that this will come to an end. It's not the end of the world. I am very hopeful. I know it will end. Like we have a saying in Uganda, we say, Tija kubwa, as in saying, meaning it will end definitely. There are so many things that happened before. There was SARS, there was, we were hit by Ebola, which affected our business before, but it did not make, well, there's a bit of a difference. We were stuck for some time, but we moved on again. So we have to move forward. We have to find people who are willing to redefine how we do business, like professionals. Can I
come in here, Rosette? Rosette, can I come in? Yeah. Can I ask you a very specific question? Because you have a co-founder who is Anna. Anna is also on this call. So my question to you is, how did you find Anna? Because we want to be very specific. How did you collaborate? How did the two of you form a partnership to become co-founders of your business? You know, so what brought you together? That's the question.
That's a good question, Sam. We were both in the travel industry, but working for different companies, but there was this burning passion for us to do something. Like for me, I was really interested in doing something for the communities that I worked in. And so Hannah on the other side, I believe, as we have talked, was also doing the same. And she had all that force, like coming within, you have to do something. So as I interviewed most of our clients individually, like each person I would like do a trip with, they were more interested in doing something that is more impactful in the communities that they would move in and make a social impact. So when I spoke to Hannah, we would meet in different association meetings, like Association of Uganda Tour Operators. There was Uganda Safari Guides Association and so many other events. So we would meet, we'd know each other, we are friends, we know each other from, I come from the Western and she also comes from Southwestern, so we're more or less closer. And when we got together, put our ideas together, we all were able to work together because we have one common understanding and it's something that we are passionate about, we can do it best. Now, Sam, if I have a few more minutes, I want to appreciate more the issue of collaboration. And so
Okay.
I'm thinking that maybe if you can help me just have a few minutes to drop down what Uganda has to offer so that we can have people from Nigeria collaborate with us, or you can also tell us what we can do, because I am sure Ugandans will have to want to travel somewhere when this all is over. Can I go ahead?
Yes, yes, please go on briefly.
Thank you. I'll be quick. So for you who don't know much about Uganda, it is home to half of the, almost more than half of Uganda's population. Sorry, it is home to more than half of the population of mountain gorillas in the dense forests of Windy. We have the source of the longest river in Jinja. We have the deepest and mighty falls in Makshon Falls. We have the tree climbing lines in Queen Elizabeth. We have the capital of climates, as New York Times mentioned, as Chivale National Park. We have the equator, we have Lake Victoria, we have so many things. We have Lake Bunyonyi as a second lake in East Africa and the deepest. So if anyone is interested in working with me and Hannah, we are here. Just feel free to give us questions or do anything. We are ready to answer you. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Let's move on to Robert. Robert, this will be like your final submission. You wanted to talk to us about revenue generation, you know, the other time, and that's the second part of your intervention. Can you share with us right now your plans for making money going forward as a company in Mauritius, so that we across Africa can learn from you? You are a DMC, you are someone who is well exposed, you have the expertise, the structures, the resources. How can we learn from you? What are your financial interventions for us? Robert.
Tough question, Sam. Okay, I was saying before is that, and I think Genda mentioned this as well, we don't have any visibility. Nobody can say what is going to happen, when, but what we can do, what we are doing is a number of scenarios, you know, to be able to cope with this COVID pandemic and its impact on travel. And I very much like what you and Genda talked about. It's collaboration, because at the same time, it is something that we've talked for a long time. We are having a collaboration with some partners in Zimbabwe, because this is a destination that we would like to promote as well. The collaboration has not taken any format yet, but we are talking about products, about what we would like to showcase. The idea came since we have a base of clients who are already promoting Africa. So using us, they could afterwards, when their clients want to travel to Africa, they could use our system, our brand there. So we are trying to replicate something there as well. But I don't have the magic formula that you want to be rich. It's to be, other than to be constantly engaged in what you are doing, to believe in what you are doing, and make sure that you always have the best available product for your targeted customers, because you will never be able to target the whole market. It's to find the right niche and find the right profitable niche always, and be first. You know, because there's a premium when you are first in whatever you do. And just something I wanted to add, don't forget that after the, we have, for instance, Airbnb that came as a result of the last financial crisis. So out there, there's many people working on different travel concepts that we will see evolve very soon, you know. So this is what I can say about this, but I don't have the magic formula for you. Sorry, Sam.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you. So we're about wrapping up right now, and we will take a thought from anyone in the house. Then when I want to say something, one or two people, a guy and a lady, before we have a final comment from our panelists. Anyone who supposed to unmute everyone, and if you have a comment, a question you would like to ask yourself. Okay, Victor is raising his hand. Victor, let's hear you quickly. Victor, can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
No.
I've done that.
Okay, we can hear you now. Great.
Okay. Okay. I think
Quickly, please.
It's a thing of interest for me. Haven't been involved since ISEC propelled me into getting involved in travel business since I left university, and I've been in the travel industry since then. You know, domestic tourism, which we are hoping to rely on, still has a lot of challenges, but we need to put in our best. Like Gbenga has said, it's all about collaborations. Whether we like it or not, we have to at this point. If somebody is residing in Abeokuta and I'm in Lagos and there are places to visit in Abeokuta, like to go see the First Bible or whatever in Abeokuta, why do I need to take a trip to Abeokuta? Why not have a Mr. A or Mr. B that I can call on phone to execute the tours for me? That is where character comes in. That is where honesty comes in at the end of the day. I just pray and believe that based on the way we are looking at things now, we just have to get more focused. If we are waiting for government, we are not going to see them. I've been waiting for them since 1999 in domestic tourism. I've not seen them. I set up Leisure Afrique with my friend. We left ABU together and set up the business. We ran it until 4 or 5 years back when we found out that our passion is finding it difficult to sustain that business. We have raised our own family. We have children to take care of. So the passion at that point cannot drive it. But we find out that it's something I still have to come back to every day. I delved into hotel, which was trying to sustain us, but the government is always at your back. Once you're running a hotel, they're at your back with the whip, waiting to get all manner of charges and the rest of them and other issues. Collaboration, regional market is also the way out. Oga Gbenga, I will come around because Cape Verde is the only place I've not been to in West Africa. And I've been trying to market Cape Verde all through. I've tried the regional market. That was one of the things that sustained us to stay that long from 1999 till 4 years ago. It was the regional market. So I urge everybody that we need to develop that as much as possible. It's coming much better with the advent of Mr. Gbenga and his airline to Cape Verde. At least it's going to be cheap now. Those days I used to take people to Europe before they got to Cape Verde. You know, those things will not happen again. So I think that will be the much. And let us be of good conduct. That's the only thing that can keep you. You have one opportunity to sell a bad product. If you sell one, you cannot sell it again. That's my take on that. Sorry, my video is okay, so that I can have a little of my face.
It's all right. Thank you so much.
So, oh God, so that you can have a view of my face. I think it's on now.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we can see it.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Victor.
Thank you so very much. I'm looking forward to collaborations, I must say.
All right. Thank you for your
Yeah.
contribution. We appreciate
thank
it so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's have any other person? Okay, I don't think we have any other person. Let me just quickly respond to the question in the chat regarding the Lagos State approach towards tourism. So earlier this week, the Commissioner for Tourism had a Zoom call with all the stakeholders in which they discussed the efforts of the state, and afterwards they decided to set up a committee to work on the master plan on how the state will execute a post-COVID strategy. And the members of the committee were Ali Baba, the comedian, Joke Silva, the actress, Mama Nike Okundaye, the founder of Nike Art Gallery, Dr. Adu Okupe. She's a tourism consultant, she has a PhD in tourism, and then one Mr. Lee, and then Mr. Sumonu, the special advisor to the governor on tourism. So we await the outcome of that committee. We believe that, and we are optimistic, even though there are lots of questions about the composition of the committee, but the state is, at least assumed to be making progress. So let's just hope and let's keep our ears on the ground for the future. So finally, 1 minute from each of the panelists, your final thoughts. The question and the core theme of this forum today is, I've seen a hand from Kenny. Kenny, can we have your quick thoughts, please? Very quickly, please.
Okay, it's not a question, just a comment. I think this is high time we need to increase our advocacy about local tourism. If there are a lot of issues and that needs to be addressed, I think this is high time. This is the time maybe someone could listen to us and also make them see the value of local tourism, because things, like from what we have heard so far, things are not going to turn out normal for a while. So, and to a large extent, local tourism, and interestingly, we have, without overstating the issue, we have a lot of things that we can market locally here, but there are a lot of issues. I think this is time we need to put more power in our advocacy and trying to resolve our local issues, and possibly instead of paying the dollar, we see how we can increase the naira. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's take all our panelists 1 minute each to answer that question. Should the travel industry consider a new business model? Yes or no? If yes, why? If no, why? In 1 minute, let's start with Kemi. Kemi, please. That's the theme question. Should the travel industry, should everybody here, in fact, please personalize it. Should I, as a business owner, I as Kemi, should I consider a new business model? So please, let's have your thoughts in 1 minute, and we wrap up this conference.
Thank you, Sam. I think that's actually the best way to go at this time, because since people are no longer traveling again, and we have to kind of like look for ways to attract them with different products and services and also incentives. For local tourism in Nigeria, it's going to take so much for us to push domestic tourism, because the Nigerian audience, we are quite unique, and we kind of like, apart from the fact that most of us are luxury travelers, before you see a Nigerian go backpacking in Europe, it's going to be difficult. We'd rather stay in 3-4 4-star hotels, go to luxury places and all that. So we're kind of like, we put Nigerian audience in the luxury travel category, because so it's very difficult to be able to push domestic tourism, because we just want to go out there and show ourselves. That's one. Then for us to push the local tourism, we have to kind of like come together and do that as one, develop a strategy and a campaign to be able for people to get people in the know, to get them interested in this, and also to make them know that we have places that they can actually go to here in Nigeria. Because even people are not, they don't even know that we have places they can go. People rather go to Dubai, go to London, and go to other places. That's Nigerian audience for you. Having worked in different markets has given me kind of like an insight to be able to study target audience. Over there in Kenya, especially in East Africa, they don't even like internet. Kenya would prefer to for a holiday than go to Dubai or London. So it's easy to sell domestic travel there. And also they have a whole lot of things to offer. If you come over here in Nigeria and you want to push domestic travel, maybe we'll go to Whispering Palms and Badagry for a weekend getaway, or we go to one hotel in Lekki for a weekend getaway, or we push Obudu Ranch for holiday, weekend getaway, or a short break holiday. So we need to come up with different products and then come up with strategy to promote and also get people interested, get them informed, push out a whole lot of content out there for them to know all about it, for us to push domestic travel. And also about collaboration, it will be great to also push regional travel, since we already know this is what our audience want. They want to travel out of Nigeria. So the best thing for us is to collaborate with people in South Africa, in East Africa, and let's come together, push these destinations so that we can also take people to these places, because within Africa is still safe compared to outside Africa. So that can be our selling point, to let them know that we can go to every other place in the regional part of Africa and also experience things that they can also experience outside Africa. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Let's go to what?
Yes.
What should the travel industry consider a new business model? Will you, as a business owner, Cape Tourism Connect, consider a new business model? What is the way forward on that? 1 minute.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I agree with the new business model. As I mentioned with my first answer, the question that I was trying to share was the SDGs by the United Nations World Tourism Organization leads us to look at what we are doing within our communities. If you actually go through the SDGs, you can actually use that to find what within your community is linked to that. I mean, just touching on what Kemi said now as well, looking at developing new products, and that is some of the things that we've actually done as well. If you look at I Am Cape Town, and thanks for sharing the website address as well, Sam, is that we've actually developed some of the products that are totally new in that I Am Cape Town format, because it hasn't previously been done, or it hasn't previously been promoted. And I think that comes down to also what you said, Kemi, with regards to the local people don't actually know what there is to offer, because there's always been this I would say, way of promoting tourism to internationals only, and they don't particularly consider that locals are also able to travel, or locals are also able to do things within their destination, within their regions, within their countries, etc. So I think that would be what I would say a new way of travel is, to get locals to do the things first. And as I previously also mentioned in one of the chats, is that visitors normally want to know, what are the locals doing? Where do they hang out? Where do they go? And that is actually where we then automatically get the visitors to do what the locals are doing. So if something like this happens again, as a pandemic, or where we lose the international travelers, we as locals can continue doing the local things on our own, and use it as an opportunity to keep our economies going. Yeah, so that's
Thank you so much. Thank you. Rosette from Kampala, Uganda. Should the travel industry consider a new business model? Will you and Anna, as co-business owners, will you consider a new business model going forward? If yes, why? If no, why?
Thank you, Sam. This is a good question, and my answer is yes. Because the times we're in now are even encouraging us and other business owners to concentrate more on new business plans, like new business models. For example, domestic tourism is going to be the first. As the whole world waits on the COVID thing to come to an end, or to ease down, we have to find ways to promote more of domestic tourism. And being a Ugandan and African to be particular, we don't have so much of a DNA in us for domestic tourism. Like for tourism, like Kenny said and the other presenters before, people had rather take a plane and go to Dubai, or maybe go to Zanzibar, or maybe go to somewhere else. So what we are doing as Uganda is, before last year, we had a campaign with the Minister of Tourism. We had Honorable Chiwanda do a campaign called Tulambule Uganda, meaning let's explore Uganda. This was something that was encouraging the locals to come on board and get to know what Uganda has to offer, and like tweet, do hashtags to let the world know. So I am encouraging the other participants that if you can do something like that, similar in your countries, I think it's something that can help out with the young people, promote more of domestic tourism, since they are the people who use a lot of social media. And of course, what we do here, our concept goes with we identify people who are like socialites, people who have the biggest number of followers. We appoint them as tourism ambassadors, so they can be able to take trips like to Windy, they go to Ginger. So when you advertise something that has more of celebrities on it, everyone will be like, oh, I want to be on this trip. I want to go and see, like I've never been to Kidepo. I want to go to Kidepo. I've been to Kidepo myself, by the way. But so someone will be like, oh, this is exciting. We're going to have Kenzo on this trip. So we're going to have so much fun. So that is one of the things that can help people, especially the nationals, appreciate domestic tourism. And it did a lot of awareness for us. It worked so much. It helps us as tour operators to have to sell to the wider audience. And of course, now is the time to do more of repackaging. We have to find the right way to sell. We have to make all these packages more affordable. We have to know that people have not been working. So the situation is a bit frustrating, but definitely they will want to get out of home and do something. So we do small trips to Mabira Forest, we do small trips to zip lining, we do small trips to the museum. There are so many people here in Uganda, I'm sure even in other African countries, who don't know, for example, the national monuments. Like the other time we had a client, she was staying at a certain hotel, and we told her, our daily schedules start from ABCD place. So if you get an Uber, like the hotel books you an Uber, the Uber will bring you directly to where we are. So we say to them, we will be at the Independence Monument. So the lady came with an Uber person, but they came asking all the way, reaching to us, and she was like, you guys, can you imagine the guy who drove me didn't know where the Independence Monument was? I looked at her and we just smiled and we're like, oh, yeah, sometimes they don't, but most people know. We were just trying to cover up for our country, but it's time now to promote more of domestic tourism. Let's help our fellow nationals be able to realize the potential of domestic tourism. Let them learn about their country, let them talk about their country. We have this thing of promoting negativity. Let's stop talking things that don't make a lot of sense. Like when something happens, like an accident happens in a national park, people are very fast to act and post on Facebook. Two tourists had an accident from the top of the falls, and this is how terrible it is. The whole world catches up on it so quickly. It spreads like wildfire. Instead of us saying, okay, when you are, for example, at Lake Bunyonyi, you can do something like, hey, this is, we are here today at Lake Bunyonyi, the second deepest lake in Africa, of course.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, sir.
Thank you.
When I come to talking about Uganda, it's endless. I'm sorry.
No problem. So let's have Robert and then finally Gbenga. Robert, from your perspective, your final thoughts, your final submissions, should the travel industry consider a new business model? For everyone here, will you personally, as the MD of INDEBLUE DMC in Mauritius, Will you consider a new business model? If yes, what is it? And if no, what is it? What are your thoughts? 1 minute, please.
Okay, Sam, I think if we don't consider a new business model anyway, we are dead meat. Huh? We won't be making that money that you want. So we definitely have to consider new business model, whether it be for local, regional, or international. We have to look into this. And I think the biggest opportunity that we have now, which we must not forget, people have been in the lockdown for 2 months. They've been confined to their home. And those who can afford are looking out there to go out and do something that won't put their health, their risks at stake. So this is an immediate opportunity that we have. How we tackle this, how we work on this, how we tap this, this is to each of us individually or together, how we can achieve and get something out of it.
Thank you so much. So finally, Gbenga Onitilo, from your experience and also from as a company as Cabo Verde Airlines, you've been working with lots of our store operators, destination marketers, and all that. Should we consider a new business model? What is the way forward? What should the industry be looking to do differently in the days ahead? 1 minute.
Yeah, I think it took pandemic or COVID-19 to reset everybody's brain that they needed to do things in a different way. And part of the major challenge with, because the realities are different from different areas, just like Robert said.
True.
What will work in Kampala might not work in Nigeria. So we always have to look at our peculiarities. It's easier to sell domestic tourism, for example, in all those places that you have mentioned, because there's the issue of pricing is right, because government is working with all stakeholders on tax exceptions, to create subsidies, to put funding. So the issue of security, the issue of security is prime. For example, in Jamaica, you cannot do anything wrong to a tourist. You will go to jail because tourism drives their economy. So if anything ever goes wrong with a tourist in Jamaica, you're in trouble. In Nigeria, it's a different ballgame entirely, because most of the people in government don't even see tourism as anything. They don't.
In fact, can I comment briefly? In Maldives, if a tourist gets drunk, a police will help a drunk tourist to his hotel room. They treat them with so much.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The peculiarities are different. So, for example, in Nigeria now, most of the people that have suffered the greatest setback, the younger travel agents, the small operators, you are not the one that have suffered the greatest setback. It's the big agents that have suffered the greatest setback, because most of them could not even pay their IATA remittance. Most of them, over 50% of them have defaulted in IATA. They couldn't, because most of them have sold tickets. When the pandemic happened, they could not collect most of the money from the corporates, or part of the money is stuck somewhere, and a whole lot of them couldn't get money from the banks because banks were not even operating. So a whole lot of them have defaulted several times over. So over time, I've told quite a lot of these people, you need to automate your business. You need to leverage on technology, online presence. You can't keep opening offices all around over Nigeria when you are doing a low margin business. That's one of the things a whole lot of them will now realize, because a lot of them are laying off, closing offices, because the business we are doing is something that you have to leverage technology, the use of digital tools to be able to sell them. The way it is right now, the world the business is now becoming, people want less interaction, because the pandemic has now created a situation where people don't want to interface with you directly anymore because of all the social distancing, COVID-19. So if your business, you are not creating content that is strong enough to attract traffic to your business online, and you don't have the tools through which your staff, for example, can work remotely from anywhere, to save you cost, except when they have to get to a structured office, they have to sit down. Just like you want to hold this meeting now and you are getting all of us into a hall. Do you know what the cost is? You're on Zoom now. What we are eating on is data, which is still less expensive, very, very far less expensive than putting us in a hall. So the future of the business, it's going to be more of you are now going to have to create content or create stories that will draw people to you and be able to know exactly whether they want to go with you or not. So now you're not going to have a more of employing people that are more intellectually savvy, people that can write stories like Kemi. You're going to need a whole lot more of them that can actually create those stories, create experience, virtual reality about destinations that people don't even need to come to your office. They just toss to Nairobi. They feel by seeing stories made from videos, they can actually experience. And with that, they make a decision whether they want to try. They don't even need to come to your office anymore. So it's about creative story writing now, creating content, leveraging on technology, because you have to reduce your overhead right now. All the airlines are doing it right now. Laying off cabin crew, laying off pilots, putting down planes that are too heavy capacity for you to run operations. So everybody are going to have to leverage on the use of technology, the use of experts. I told one of my friends, these are the days, most of those travel agents we have talked to over time, they will now start looking for people like us. Because some of the things we have told them to do in terms of managing their finance, managing their operations, managing their staff that they never did. Because all they have, I keep saying it, is booking and cancel people. People that know how to make bookings, cancel, make booking, do changes. They don't have strategies running their business. So these days, the travel business is going to change right now because everybody in travel are now going to need people that travel strategy driven, commercial driven, people that understand the use of technology, the people that know how to use digital media to drive, create stories, attract traffic, get to clients, create an experience for clients for you to be able to. So, but for a place like Nigeria, domestic tourism is still a very tough one because you have government is not, as long as government is not involved, it's going to be a great challenge. Like Victor shared in the comment section, he said something, he said, look, by the time you create a tour for a Nigeria and the cost of the tour with traveling with him and his family to Obudu is the same thing as going to Dubai. Why will I go to Obudu? Why will I go to? Because an average Nigerian travels to a place where he can do shopping. Nigerians want to travel and go shopping. They want to buy something so that when they return, they can flex. Like Kemi said earlier, they want to flex and show off. So those are some of the drivers. But for everywhere that you see domestic tourism happening, it's because government works with them. But right now, you now need the real stakeholders in tourism. Who are the real stakeholders? People like NANTA, NAPTOR. I'm talking about Nigeria now. NANTA and NAPTOR. Everybody needs to stop working in silos. This silos ministry is not going to help domestic tourism in Nigeria. If everybody is going to work together, stop chasing different agendas, then they can get government's attention all over Nigeria to be able to start providing some bailouts, exceptions for the travel industry in Nigeria. But as long as everybody is chasing their own, the ticketers are chasing their own, the tour operators are chasing their own, you know, like you understand what I mean? There are different stakeholders in Nigeria, but none are united to be able to fight for the cause of the whole industry. I think that's the way forward.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga Onisolor. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Fuad. Thank you, Rosette. Thank you, Kemi. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, your participation. We have come to the end of this conference. Please, can we all switch on our videos so that we can take a group picture together? So I'm going to do a screenshot.
Okay.
So please put on your videos briefly so we can see your faces and take a final picture together. And our next conference is going to be next month. We're going to have a 1-hour presentation on content marketing for tourism businesses. And I'm putting my friends on the spot. Kemi and Innocent, they will give us a presentation, a workshop, you know, so that every one of us can really, because Innocent is a digital strategist, is a guru. one of the top 50 in Nigeria. You know, he was a top guy at TravelStat before he left. And also Kemi too does it globally. So the two of them will be taking us on a deep course on digital content marketing for travel businesses next month. So please get ready. We'll communicate this to you so that we can really empower ourselves with knowledge and practical skills on how to, you know, hit the ground running. We have challenged ourselves right now. We now know what to do, but we need those tools and a step-by-step guide. So we will communicate the data. Thank you so much. So let's take the pictures together. In 3, 2, 1. So let's just say travel. Okay, I'm going to unmute everyone so we can all scream Travel Massive, right? And we're also recording this conversation as well so that we can have like a group picture and then a group shout, so to speak. Can we unmute everyone? So we can have a big shout. Great. Awesome. All right, so
thank you for this wonderful presentation.
I won't see myself.
Have a wonderful time. Bye-bye.
Travel Massive.
Massive.
I think we should go again.
Let's see your face.
Understand.
3, 2, 1.
Massive.
Travel Massive.
All right. Thank you so much,
Travel
everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you so much.
This is my name.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.